You previously mentioned that our Lord allows suffering essentially because suffering is bound to our free will, a result of free will. This I can understand in some contexts, okay? Yet I've struggled a great deal, having recently lost my beloved 9-year-old, my daughter, to leukemia. The suffering and loss of the innocent, especially a child, challenges one's faith to the core, I can imagine. It's hard to reconcile why the Lord does not impart mercy to those who have hardly matured enough to exercise their free will. Can you speak to this? God bless, Thomas.
Yeah, of course, you realize, that, Thomas, that, an innocent child, is going to be called, by the Lord to himself. And Jesus, literally says it, their angels, right, are looking right into the face of my Father. So, I mean, this is a proclamation of the beauty, the innocence, and the goodness of a child, whose angel is already looking in the face of your Father. So the first thing is it's not going to, your child's not going to suffer because they did not get to that mature point of free will. God's going to save them, and of course this is interestingly borne out in so many different ways, where I just shouldn't bring up near-death experiences here because Christian revelation is more than enough. But yeah, I mean the vast majority of children who have a near-death experience, who undergo clinical death, they really have 85% of them. First of all, have a near-death experience, and it's 100% positive on the part of everyone who does have a near-death experience. So you can be very sure, that your 9-year-old is with the Lord. The second thing is, I know we miss them so much, and I can't even begin to imagine the grief you must feel. I mean, even if I lost my little nieces or nephews, I mean, I would just be just over the top, filled with grief. But I also know, at the very same moment, that there has to come a point where you're going to have to trust God that you're going to be with her. And the prayer that I would say is, that I want to be with my daughter. I want to be with her when and join her in the heavenly kingdom. And Lord, just direct my whole life so that I might be with her, because that's, I know, what she wants for me right now.
Right.
So I would say it's again an act of faith, an act of trust, and that fortitude, that resilience. I'm moving forward with my trust in God, because sometimes you think, well, gosh, that's not, I mean, this act of the will to move forward, maybe I should experience the grief for a while. My thought is there's no time than the present moment to exercise fortitude and move forward in your act of faith and trust in God, and to move on with your life. You're not loving your daughter less.
Right.
You're loving your daughter more by putting your faith and trust in Him, and to try and find ways to use the experience you have of loss to benefit others, to benefit the church, to get involved in maybe grieving ministry, to find some other ways where you might be able to help.